Hey everybody, welcome back. As you can see, I have here a Good Housekeeping from 2010. It's one of my wife's. And it's interesting. As you can see, it says Good Housekeeping 125 years, 1885 to 2010. And there's Brooke Shields is on the cover. And we can just kind of flip through, you know, and take a look at what's going on in it, you know. Lots and lots of ads, some recipes, fashion, money doesn't drink here anymore. There's just some interesting articles, lots and lots of fashion articles. Anyway, I just think, being Brooke, I just think, oh, but look at that. There's a cover of Good Housekeeping from January 1913. That's kind of cool. I wonder if they have any other vintage covers, since this is like a celebratory issue. I don't see it. Well, how about an actual Good Housekeeping from 1891? Okay. Now what you're looking at is an April 1891 issue of Good Housekeeping, and this is the real deal. This is not a reprint. Okay, and let's just compare. As you can see, it's changed quite a bit. And what I thought you might find interesting is that now that we've kind of flipped through this, and I'm sure you're pretty familiar with it, with what's in the Good Housekeeping, to flip through this old one from 1891 and see how things have changed. So that's just a few years after Good Housekeeping started. So I hope you find this fascinating and enjoy this, and let's begin. Okay, let's first take a look at the cover. It says monthly, $2.40 a year. Let me zoom in. 20 cents a month. Okay. I'm moving this very carefully because it is very old and somewhat brittle. Notice that the printing was done kind of poorly. It's off center. Can you see that? Okay, now let's open it up. We have an ad for Cocoa, Van Houten's Cocoa. There's an ad that says, sensible mothers wear good sense buttons front instead of clasps, and beautiful children do likewise. And then there's also an ad for another magazine called Overland Monthly, which I don't think exists anymore. Now we have a blank page. It's sort of like a... Oh, it's blank because you can tear out this palmistry insert, and I guess hang it on your icebox or something. And it has ways to read the palm, which is kind of neat. So that's a little freebie that comes with the magazine. Okay, on the first page, I'll let you take a look at that. Good Housekeeping, a family magazine conducted in the interests of the higher life of the household. Springfield, Massachusetts, April 1891. And it says 10 mornings in the kitchen, and this is an article, I kind of perused it, about 10 mornings and the different things that the wife or mother cooked. And giving recipes for making biscuits and soup and tips on how to make it taste better. And this article goes on. Here, the next article is paying for wedding presents. Do notice that there's not very many pictures. Founding the home, and throughout the magazine it's sort of peppered with little poems and extracts from literature. This one's called April Weather, and if you want, I'll read it for you real quick. The wind that sweeps through wood and wold moans sadly among the firs. Above drift storm clouds dark and cold, that quickening pulse which stirs. The heart of nature now is still, enchained by winter's breath. She lies, all shrouded, pale and chill, the semblance but of death. But whence comes this young goddess fair, with flowers on her breast? Around her breathes a balmy air that breaks the icy rest. The darting swallows come and go, swift leap the brooks again. A gentle shower falls, the snow was only April rain. Okay, that's kind of pretty. Housekeeping in foreign lands. I thought this was interesting. They talk about India and different countries and how it differs from America. And what's interesting is, once again, being that this is 1891, it's not a particularly politically correct article. So you can imagine. And there's all recipes from some of these foreign lands. The succulent bivalve, and actually they're referring to oysters, and how to dispose of him to the best advantage. I love how they word these articles. Household coffee, table drinks, tea, coffee, chocolate, and cocoa. Recipes on how to make good hot drinks. Frying in hot fat, how it may or may not be done successfully. And there's a poem called Good Housekeeping. Pacific Coast Talk and Travel. Card parties. A little talk about them. There's a poem called The Old Homestead. This just sort of once again shows you, the time this was. This is very old. Now, here is the fashions section. The way women dressed back then. Aladdin's Lamp, Lighting the Homes of the World, Edward Atkinson's Workman's Dinner Pail, Decorative Paintings, Large Stork and Pastel Crayons. I guess this is showing you how to... Here's a little section called Common Ailments, and this gives you tips. Children's clothing should be as light and warm as possible with flannel or wool next to the skin. Either material so worn will ward off dangerous chills and prevent colds. In severe paroxysms of coughing, try 1 or 2 tablespoons of pure glycerin mixed with pure whiskey or hot rich cream. It is said to give almost immediate relief. Can you imagine advising parents to give their children whiskey today? I mean, Science and Art of Modern Etiquette. There's a poem called Aunt Mary. Who doesn't have an Aunt Mary? Coffee. How it is made here, there, and everywhere. And this is just another interesting article. How they make it in Cuba and so forth. Here's a poem called A Husband's Wail. An article about hardwood furniture. An article about the lace industry. The Family Medicine Chest. Talking about diphtheria and consumption. Not adapted to kitchen use. This is very fascinating. It's just so neat to see something from a different time. One of you commented that these magazines are like time capsules, and I really can't think of a better analogy. That's so true. These magazines are just like time capsules. You're seeing not only the items and the writings, but you're also seeing the attitudes and the opinions from a different time. For example, this poem is called So Queer. And back then that would mean so odd. And now it has a completely different meaning. It's a recipe for rice pudding, baked omelet. And I know that's probably a weak example, but as we go, I'm going to try to show you some different examples. Drinks for the sick. Orange whey, egg lemonade, sago milk, baked milk. This is like the game section. And it has like trivia questions and so forth. And it's interesting, a lot of the questions involve things like Shakespeare and stuff that would require a high level of literary knowledge. But I wouldn't necessarily put down today's world saying that we're all dumb. It's just that we know about different things. Back then, Shakespeare was something they read a lot. We don't read it as much. We know more about today's culture and so forth. So I'm going to kind of flip a little quickly to get to some more interesting parts. Some ads. I'm just going to let you look at these. Consumption, of course, was tuberculosis, which was a huge problem back then. How babies suffer. Another ad for cocoa. I hope you find this interesting. If you'd like me to do a quiet flip through of this too, I'd be more than happy to. Although there's so much text in it that I think it would be hard with my primitive camera to see all of the cool stuff in here. And finally, we're on this last page. And I wanted to point out this article called Putting Coins in the Mouth. Apparently, it was a common practice that ladies would actually walk around and carry change in their mouths, like change to pay for streetcars and so forth. And that was because they didn't have pockets on their dresses, or they didn't necessarily carry purses, or they didn't put their change in a purse. And the article, I'm not going to read it because it's somewhat racist, but the article talks about why women shouldn't carry coins in their mouth, and it's surprisingly the way it's written. It's not so much about the racism as much as apparently it was such a common practice, and it's hard to imagine today's woman carrying coins around in their mouth. So I just thought that was interesting, and now we are on the back cover. So I hope you thought this was an interesting look at something that's very old, and I definitely enjoyed showing it to you. So let's just flip it over again and get another look at the cover. So that was Good Housekeeping from April 1891, the real deal. And I'm gonna put this away now for safekeeping, and I might do one more quiet flip through if y'all want. So anyway, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll do plenty more. Bye.